Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and let us play with some stack traces. Tonight we have this situation where we have created an application and we have used a service. And this service is a Spring Boot application. As usual, we are playing with spaceships. We have this refueling service we should imagine that this service is being used like 1,000 places in your code. And now you would actually like to know where it is actually called from when it's being used. How do you do that? Or how do we do that? The way to do it, spoiler alert, is to use the stack trace. And how do we get the stack trace? We are used to getting the stack trace when we get an exception. Then you can say print stack traces if that's what you want to. But what about if we just want to trigger that ourselves? Let me just change the chroma a little bit here. Yes, like this. So first of all, let us create some code. So this is a Spring Boot application. I am using latest and greatest IntelliJ, and then pressing File, New Projects right here. I chose Spring. I'm using Gradle tonight and Java 17. I've added using Spring Boot 3.1. I've added the Spring Web, I've added the Lombok, and I've added the JPA and H2. We are not going to use the database, I think, tonight, but now it is there if I suddenly need it. So here we have, this is my controller, this is my REST controller where I want to return something. So here we have request mapping. This could be create a spaceship. So this is the endpoint mapping that we have right here. Then we can have a post mapping. Let us say we want to create a new one. Then this could just be like this. So, or of course we could also add a caption or something like that. But this is not about REST itself. It's about the stack trace. So it doesn't matter. Launch something. Okay, so here we have launch something. I'm going to create a new spaceship. The spaceship is a record that I've already created just to save some time. There's fuel left and there's a captain inside that record. The cool thing about using records is that you're kind of being forced into creating new objects all the time, which is the right way to code if you don't want side effects. Side effects are the same as bugs in production, and we don't want that. So here we are creating a new spaceship. So this is new ship that we are creating right here. And we need some fuel left. Maybe it will just be come from the factory with 15% of fuel, and the captain, of course, is mine. So here we have the spaceship. Now I would like to fuel it up, or refuel it before I actually return the spaceship to whoever ordered the spaceship from us, right? And the way that I'm doing that is that I have a private final refueling service. This refueling service right here. I've already created it, so I'm in the constructor injecting it because I have this required Axe constructor. This means when I'm marking this private final, then this will be injected into the constructor automatically. A constructor will be created automatically matching this type right here. Fuel refueling service right here. So what do? I have one method right here. Fuel ship. It takes an existing ship. Then it creates a new ship based on the existing ship, and it adds 50% to the fuel left, and it also it uses the existing captain, and then it returns that, and then I'm logging a bit inside right here. So, and this is what we're going to target tonight. I'm just going to set up the code first. So here I'll say new ship, and I'm going to say refueling service, and then I'll say fuel ship, and here we have the ship. And then we get a new ship right here. This is the fuel ship, yes. So the refuel ship. And that is the one we're going to return refuel ship like this. Everybody's happy, and and of course we can create a unit test for this. I'll just place a cursor in the end of the class. I'll press Ctrl-Shift-T, create new test. Thank you very much. Check off that member method right there. Add it to Git. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, this is a test, and yes, I need the Spring Boot context. So this is a Spring Boot test. Yes, it is. And here I will then say auto-wired, and then we have the REST controllers, and that is the spaceship controller, like this. And then we say controller.launch something. So here's a spaceship, and of course a test is not a test without any assertion, so we need to assert equals are always good. So we actually assert that the refueling process worked. That means we have 65% of fuel, and spaceship that's fuel left. And just for fun, let us also just print out the spaceship in the end, just to see, then we can see that we're done. Run this test and let us see what happens. I like the new UI from IntelliJ. You can see it right here. This is the new UI. If you haven't tried it out, then go to beta features, go to settings, Control-Alt-S, go to the settings, search for new UI, and then enable it. It is awesome. Okay, here we have the test screen, and we have a lot of outputs. We have some output right here, and let us see what that is. Where's the output? It's actually right here. Spaceship, fuel left, and the captain is Mike, and there's some, and here we have the log statements right here, adding 50% fuel, return the ship, blah, 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 a lot of stuff right here. So now we would actually like to know the stack trace when we call this. How can I get the stack trace? I would like to log with some more, I would like to add some logging so I can find out from where this refueling service is being called, because I have 1,000 places from where it's being called in this made-up scenario. So how do I do that? I can use the stack trace, and there are multiple ways of getting stack trace. One is thread.current thread, and then get stack trace like this. So this is one way to get the stack trace. It's not the most efficient. I read that the throwable, creating a new throwable like this, and then getting a stack trace like this. This should be the most efficient way, actually. I don't know why, but that's just how it is from throwable. So this is another way to get the stack trace. Of course, a third way is actually to deliberately throw new runtime exception, right? So you can actually throw a new runtime exception right here. And then you can surround that with try catch, and then you have your exception if you want to do that. That is very clumsy. You should not do that, and I will not even write that down because it is very, very ugly. But now that we have the stack trace, so how can we print it out? We are used to when we have an exception, then we can just print it out. We can use log for J or log for SL for J. So then we can just say log one or info like this, and then we can usually just print out the. You will see we actually have a throwable right here, so we could use new throwable, and then we can print it out. And that is actually one of the easiest ways to get the stack trace. So I'll just write stack trace, and then I'll say new throwable. So that is one way. There are more ways, a lot of ways. That is why I made this video. That's a lot of fun. So we don't just want to solve this task right here. We also want to play with it. We want to have fun with Java. And let us rerun the test right here. I'll just press rerun. Let us see what actually happens. If I say log info, stack trace, new throwable, will we get a nice output? So here we'll actually, oh, what is this? Look what happens right here. Throwable null. That's because we haven't given it any arguments. Here we can see that we actually, here we are we can see that we are in a refueling service. We can actually see here that we are from, we come from the controller, the spaceship controller right here in line 19. That is quite awesome. And this is very, very awesome for debugging. If you want to go back in your code, maybe it was, maybe we want to find out where this came from. It could also be that it was some kind of extra security check that you did. Then you want to know out why your security check actually failed. It could be a logical security check that said that you are not allowed to look at this code or something like that. Then you want to know which code actually triggered it. And this is an easy way to actually know that and avoiding actually giving in some context or something like that. It's very ugly when you have to give extra information just for logging or for debugging down to your methods below, of course. It's much better with, you can see you have the stack trace actually right here. It's actually, I guess it's actually like the second line or something like that. Just for fun, let us see if the two stack traces are the same. So I'm going to place a breakpoint right here, and then I say debug, rerun the test. Let us see what happens now. Yes, there we have the breakpoint. So we have the debugger right here. So we have two stack traces right here, and we can actually see each line. So one possibility was also to go through, it is an array, we could just go through each element and then add all of these, we could just add all of these to strings on each of these lines right here, and then we will get one string, one string out of this, and then we could then lock that one string if we wanted to. And we can actually see here the second step, the one with index 1 is actually where we can see that this comes from. This is the line where it happened, and then we have the one with index 2, that is from where we were called. That means the spaceship controller right here. And this was actually what we were interested in. That's also line number, etc., etc., etc. So this was the first one, and let us see the second one right here, and it looks kind of the same, except for that we have one element less than that we have with the stack trace right here. So this means that we actually got from the get stack trace. So we get one extra line right here. So throwable is actually a bit cleaner, I would say. So definitely just say new throwable and then use that. So now we have seen how it looks, what it looks like. How could we create a nice string from this if we didn't have SL4J? Maybe you're in a situation where you don't have SL4J. Again, there are multiple solutions to this problem. Thank you, Mike, for asking that. Yes, you are welcome. There is a library called Apache Commons Lang. There's a lot of cool things in that library. If you haven't checked it out, then go check it out on Apache's website. It has so many cool things. If you want to manipulate strings or in this situation play with exceptions, then it's really good. I've added this line right here, org Apache Commons Lang 3. And currently the version is 3.12.0. So let us try to use that. We have something called exception util right here. Exceptions util. There's actually also one in Jackson. Okay. I need to look into that one day. But now we have this exception utils right here. And this was not. Maybe it's the wrong one I'm getting. Tomcat. Okay, I wanted actually to get one string from this, so yeah. How was it that we did this? There should be a get stack trace. That's the one I cannot find. Get. And it's no secret. It's from Beldung has some really cool articles. And they actually mentioned that we could actually use the exceptions utils. I actually did not try it before I started this video. Get, and there should be a get stack trace right there, but it actually seems like it's not there. So okay, but it does not matter, because now then we get on to the next step. Of course it matters. It's a bit annoying, but exception utils, yeah. It should have been except. Wait, did I press this button right here? I don't think I did. Exception utils. Oh, here it is. It was just me who was stupid. I added it to my dependency list, but I did not refresh the little elephant right there. So let's try now. There it is. There it is. Yes. And from that, then we can actually make a new throwable. That is one option right here. We'll get one string that represents the whole stack trace right here. I don't want to lock this now. I want to create a new lock.info. Then we say stack trace from. Actually, we want both actually. Stack trace and then stack trace from Apache Commons. Like this. And since we're using SL4J, then we can use templating. Stack trace one like this, and let us just run the test, see what happens. If you don't want, I actually clicked the play button a couple of times. It's actually much faster to press Control twice, just so you know. I'll do that next time. Okay, here we have it for a stack trace from Apache Commons. Look what it says right here, Java throwable, and actually it looks kind of the same what we already had. It still says Java Spaceship Controller 19 at least. So here we can jump to that line and we can still fix that problem very fast. So this was awesome. Thank you, Baldong, for this trick, and thank you, of course, Apache for implementing it in the library. That was quite cool. Another way is, of course, to go through each step one by one. Stack trace from throwable, and then we can actually turn it into a stream, and then we can say stream, and then we can say that we want to map it into a string. So that means objects, and then we can say to string right here. So that is a method reference. We can use that, and then we can say collect joining. So then it just adds all of them. It will probably look a bit weird now. So collect, yeah. So then that's collect. Cool. So then we will say stack trace from manual string join. And then we say collect right here. And this time I will press Control twice. And then we will say launch something. Let us see what happens now. Spring again, and stack trace from Apache Commons. That was this one. What about the join? Stack trace from is it because it's what is happening here? Stack trace. It is string, object to string. That is a little bit weird. We don't get any line. That could be if it's null or something like. Oh, here there are more lines. Stack trace. Here it is. For manuals join. Look at this beautiful thing right here. Now, instead of we did not get a new line right here. Of course, you can add that to the join to get a new line per. Yeah. How was it that we do that? So we can go in here and then we can say char sequence delimiter. We say char. We can just say string like this, and then we say so like this. So that we should actually get a new line. Now we should get a new line per element. Whoa. Yeah, not bad. Stack trace from manual join. This is this one right here. It still gives us the same result, right? So that's quite cool. That's quite awesome. Yes. Yeah, but this is cool. Yeah, it solves the same problem. We can press this one right here. We go to line 19 in the controller, and we actually found out where we got the code. This is actually just what I wanted to show you. I just wanted to play around with some stack traces. Yeah. Remember to set up your shortcut keys so you can navigate fast through your IntelliJ, to your IDE. Yes, IntelliJ IDE is much better than Eclipse. If you want to do something else, and if you want to try another IDE than IntelliJ, then you should try NeoVim and set that up with all the Java plugins. And it will take you like a month to get used to it, but you should actually be more efficient than or at least just as efficient than when you use IntelliJ. I've not tried it myself. I saw a YouTube video with someone that did that. It looked quite cool. I forgot his name, so I'm sorry about that. Control E, then you get the files that you have recently visited. That's a good one. Double Shift, that's if you forgot where something is. Let's say that you want to rebuild the project, then you just write rebuild. If you want to push the code, then you just write push. If you want to update your project with some code from your original repo, then you just say update. Of course, you can also say pull like this. So that is double shift. That is, I've forgotten how to go there, how to do that. And Control Shift T, that is how to create a new test like this. There are a lot of cool shortcut keys. I made another video about that, so I think I'll just round this one off. Thank you very much for all of your comments in below there. I always get so happy when I read your comments. Thank you very much for that, and have a great evening, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.